Hey, welcome to Happy Hour. And on today's Happy Hour, this segment, we have a very special guest. And I'm very excited about this because coming up very soon, we have the Midwest Brewery Collectibles going on. And we have our good friend, Rick Kottemann, on Skype with us. So we're going to be talking with Rick here about this show that's coming up. So Rick, thank you so much for joining us on Happy Hour. It's nice to have you here with us.
Well, thank you. Good morning. Thanks for having me on.
We're really excited about this Midwest Brewery Collectibles. Tell us a little bit about this show and what we can expect.
Sure. Well, we've been having this show at the lake area for roughly 20 years. It's a combined effort of three different chapters of the Brewery Collectibles Club of America, based out of Missouri. The Gateway chapter in St. Louis, the Casey's Best chapter in Kansas City, and the Missouri Ozark chapter out of Springfield, Missouri.
Oh, very cool. Very cool. So whose idea was it to get this whole thing started? Like, was it the group of people, or was it like one person that says we need to have a place for people to go and find these collectibles?
Sure. Well, this show originated in the Columbia, Missouri area in the early 90s. And it's just one of many local regional shows. We have the national organization, the Brewery Collectibles Club of America, or BCCA. We have a national convention once a year, and it moves around to different major cities throughout the U.S. This past year, it was in Norfolk, Virginia. The year before that, it was our 50th anniversary. We had it in St. Louis. And next year, for 2023, it will be in Louisville, Kentucky.
Nice. So all over the place.
All over the place, sure, because there's collectors all over the United States and the world, actually. So in addition to the national show, we have regional shows and local shows. So each local chapter tends to have at least one show a year in their area. And so the idea of the show being based centrally in Missouri is to draw collectors from not only Missouri, but all the surrounding states.
Absolutely. And I know several of my friends, you go into their garage, you go into the man cave, and you see these really cool signs on the wall, and you just think, where in the world do you find stuff like this? And so you bring it all to one location to where, I tell you what, if you have a place that you need to decorate, or if you have a bar and you want to put up something very unique, something that maybe someone can't find, this is the place to be. So tell us when and where is the event taking place, and how big do you expect it to be this year?
Right. Well, the show will be open to the public on Saturday, January 28th. Our members will start coming in on Friday to set up. And like I said, it opens at 9 o'clock to the public on Saturday. Right now I have about 60 members registered for slightly over 70 tables. So this is going to be a nice size show. It's going to be at the Inn at Grand Glaze, which probably most of your local folks know. It's just south of the Grand Glaze arm along just off Old Highway 54.
Mm-hmm. Yep, it's right there next to the bridge. So Inn at Grand Glaze, Saturday, January 28th, and I'm just really intrigued by all of this. And I noticed all of the stuff that we could see in the picture, like your shirt, your Limp Brewery, and that St. Louis. That was the oldest brewery in St. Louis. Am I correct on that?
Well, it's certainly not the oldest, but it was one of the first very large commercial breweries that ship their products throughout the United States.
Okay, so you're just a wealth of knowledge, and so I assume if there's collectors that are out there and they're saying, I want to go somewhere because I have something in my hands and I'm just curious, is it worth anything? Is there a story behind it? And that actually, I came on today with something that we had found in my grandmother's house years ago, and I've kept it. It's an unopened can, and I've always wondered, is it worth anything? And I thought it would be really cool to maybe talk with someone that might know some information about this. So have you seen this at all, Rick? It's called, I'm sure that you have seen this, but World's Fair Beer, and it's unopened. Is this anything that like, yeah, that's worth something, or that's great to have on a shelf, or what can you tell me about this?
Sure. World's Fair beer came out in conjunction with the Knoxville World's Fair in 1980. There's about a dozen different colors of the same label design. I won't say they're common, but they are available. Sometimes you'll see them at the antique malls for anywhere from $1 up to $5, depending on condition. So I'd say that's a good entry-level collectible if you're kind of just first getting into the hobby.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'm very glad that I have this, and it is unopened. So, Rick, is beer maybe kind of like a wine? Like if I were to open this and pour it up, would it be worth having a sip at all?
No, sir.
The answer to that is no. Don't open the beer and drink it.
Beer tends to get skunky after about a year or two. It'll be very vinegary if you open it.
And if this was from the 80s, I'm sure this is probably going to be straight vinegar then.
Right. Yeah.
So what are some cans that you maybe have readily accessible, possibly right there, that you could tell us a little bit more about as far as just, comparing my World's Fair beer, my entry level? What are some other like cans possibly that you could maybe share with us?
Absolutely. Sure. Thanks for asking. First beer cans were produced in 1935. And most of those in that vintage came with instructions to open them. You see the,
oh, wow.
Okay, so this is an old 1930s Hams can. So that's still we call that a national brand because, it still survives. And it was widely marketed. Here's a 1930s Schlitz can. And this is a cone top design. So some of them came out with the flat top, some of them came out with the cone top.
Now that cone top design, would that be like we would see on a glass bottle, like a round top that you pop off, or is it like a screw off top?
No, these were designed to compete with the flat top. This was American can made to flat tops.
Okay.
It's like Continental can. So the selling point for the cone tops was that the brewers could adopt their filling machines to the church keys that were used for the bottles. Eventually, these lost out though to the flat top.
Well, very cool. Now you have all sorts of stuff here. Okay. Oh, tell me about this one. I've not seen this before.
All right. So this is an old this is a Falstaff cone top.
Okay.
These are also a good entry level can for if you want to find a cone top for your collection. Falstaff was widely marketed and they're fairly readily available. You'll see a lot of these in the antique malls.
Okay.
For instance, I could go on and on. Here's an old one of the more traditional St. Louis breweries from the 1930s through early 50s, Hyde Park Brewery. And then for the Kansas City side, Mulebach was very widely distributed. We find a lot of these around the Lake of the Ozarks. Mulebach.
Wow, that's really cool.
Finally, here's an early Busch can from the 1950s, Busch Bavarian.
Yes.
That's still a brand that's alive and well. So
that's really cool. I actually just got back from Germany and I got to experience the Budweiser that was in Germany. I guess the original Budweiser is what they called it.
Right.
And then I also I got a chance to drink a can of Anheuser-Busch, the Budweiser, but it was just called Bud in Germany.
Right.
So I got to experience that as well. So a lot of beer tasting in Germany. If you go to Germany, you have to do that. But
right.
now what's one of your prized possessions that you have as far as one of your collectibles?
Well, thank you for asking. A lot of people ask me what's my favorite can, and this is it for sure. It's an Old Missouri quart-sized cone top. So this held a quart of beer. This was produced in the 1930s. It's a pretty desirable can. I love the graphics. Plus, it's from Missouri, or it mentions Missouri. It was actually brewed out of Chicago.
Oh, wow.
The Prima Brewery. But I'd say of everything I have, this is my favorite piece.
That is really great. Something spectacular. And we're so excited about all of the things that we could see at this Brewery Collectible Show. It's the Midwest Brewery Collectible Show. Again, Rick, where is it taking place?
Sure. The Inn at Grand Glaze off Old 54.
Yep, and it's going to be Osage Beach Inn at Grand Glaze, Saturday, January 28th. I'm super excited about getting out there and just seeing all the different things that everyone has brought and hearing from people like you that have the same type of heart of collecting and keeping these things alive that could have been just discarded in trash and thrown away years ago. And I love to see these things. And just like my start of my collectible right here, the World's Fair beer. So it's a good start, and I'm very excited about getting to the collectible show and shopping around and maybe taking some things home with us. So
there you go. Yeah, we'll look forward to seeing you.
Well, Rick, thank you so much for joining us on Happy Hour today, and we look forward to seeing you and all of the great things at the Collectible Show. Again, Collectible Show, it's the Midwest Brewery Collectible Show happening January 28th, Saturday, January 28th, in at Grand Glaze. Doors open at 9 a.m. to the public, and it's open until 2 p.m. So make sure you get there early so that you can see all of the cool stuff. And also, Rick, could someone bring something to the show and just ask people about, the knowledge of maybe what they would have?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, we very much encourage that.
Well, wonderful. Well, I look forward to meeting you in person, Rick. Thank you so much for joining us on the show.
You're very welcome. Take care.